What events should I be preparing for? Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness, and that's what we're talking about today, as well as showing you around, doing some things like what we've been doing today. Update on the garden, showing you just different things around here that we're accomplishing as part of our prep of the day, our preparedness of the day, which is a lifestyle. Really, preparedness is a lifestyle. If you make it fun, like I mention all the time, make prepping fun. Make prepping fun again. You won't get that burnout. You won't get fatigue. You will enjoy yourself during the process, and it'll just become part of who you are and what you do. But first off, what kind of events should we be planning for? Actually, before that, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please comment and share the videos. Because of the way things are, you guys know, there's this thing called being unsubscribed. If you get unsubscribed, check back. Check back often to me and any other of your channels that you want to be subscribed to. And make sure that you're still subscribed to them. You may have to subscribe several times before it actually works. Same with the thumbs up button. Those kind of things, I mean, it's the world we live in right now. And we need to do all we can to lessen the effects of, that C word, that ugly C word that is the other C word that is our founding document. One of them. So, yeah, what events should I be preparing for? SHTF, stuff hitting the fan. TEOTWAWKI, the end of the world as we know it. WROL, without rule of law. All these kind of things come to mind. But what events are most likely to happen? What are the most likely events? Well, I can't see the future. I rely on Him for my promptings. So I follow the Spirit in my preps. I get food when prompted. I get water when prompted. I get seeds when prompted. I plant more garden when prompted. All these kind of things. I maybe do some vehicular stuff, some bug out stuff when prompted. Luckily, I have these feelings on a regular basis. I'm hoping because I'm really in touch with Him and I'm close to Him. I try my best to be. What do I think are some likely events to happen? Just my opinion. Don't take this as the gospel. I am just a guy doing the things, doing the best I can. So, what do I think is likely? I think that shortages in increased prices are the most likely on the horizon. Fuel, food, meat, vegetables, fruit, all those kind of things I see as likely to be in shorter supply and or higher prices, because we've seen that. Another thing, so that talks about like food storage and having some extra fuel on hand. Most people can't store a lot of fuel though. So like I talk about, prepare as if you don't need your fuel. If my vehicles work and I'm able to use them post-event, during an event, whatever, bonus. That's great. If the power is still on and I'm able to use all the things that make life easier, like my fridge, my freezer, all these kind of things, great. If I feel the need to hook up generator, run that stuff for power, maybe. But remember, generators make a lot of noise. So, what are some other things? Housing bubble burst. Depression. Economic. Hard times. Whatever people want to use for keywords and all the names they put on these things. I definitely think that we're a very high likelihood of entering into a time period where it is like that. An economic depression, at least, bare minimum. There's a lot of other troubling things also. I'm sure you guys are aware of things. You're watching the news, hopefully good sources, current events, what's going on in the world. Yeah, there's a lot to be thinking about. Also, our national debt, financial status, printing money, giving away money like crazy. All these things are just not tenable long term. It's not conducive to financial stability. Financial stability, I encourage you guys to be as financially stable as you can. This will help mitigate any effect of said events. Producing your own food, growing your own food, raising your own animals, that also helps. Food storage, it's all peace of mind. But if you are debt-free and have food storage and water storage, that's hand in hand. Food storage meaning preparedness items, a prepper notebook with all the stuff. Growing your own food, raising your own animals. So if you're producing your own, you have extra stored, you're financially stable, meaning debt-free, hopefully. If not, working your way towards that. Emergency fund and investments. What are investments? There's a lot of different ways. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a certified anything. I don't have any cool 3 letters after my name. But I'll tell you what is a good investment is tangible goods. Tangible goods are always good. Food, water, seeds of both kinds. As we've seen the shortage of both kinds, actually, in recent time frame. Yeah, there is a lot that can happen. What about rising tensions leading to maybe like an EMP or something like that? That's a possibility. Is it highly likely? I don't feel it's highly likely. Is it likely? Possibly. There's a lot of events out there that people talk about on a regular basis that may or may not be very likely. Some more things I think are more likely, like the crop failures, food shortages, those kind of things. I like to concentrate on common sense approach, not the sky is falling, not the world is ending every single day from a different calamity. I think of real terms, real world, what is actually likely. Although like the cyber attacks recently on the Colonial Pipeline, things like that, yeah. What about grid? Yeah, they could definitely attack the grid via cyber attack. It is vulnerable for that. What other things are vulnerable to that? Maybe the controls for a dam. What about a nuclear power facility? What about, I don't know, lots of different things. Air traffic controllers. What about traffic lights? What about so many different things that is hackable, that could be hacked and could lead to shutting down systems? What about, control systems for processing plants or, food production lines, all the lines, like from the farmer to the packing plant, to the processing, to the distribution, to the retailer. That's all a big long chain. Everything has to go perfectly in that chain for food to show up on the shelves of the grocery store. So that can be disrupted fairly easily. So I like concentrating things like that. But what other things are out there? There are a lot of things to look at. Natural disasters happen, period. It's a fact. So preparing for what natural disasters are applicable in your area is very, very intelligent thing to do. If you live on the coast, on the east coast of Florida, you might want to have a bug out plan to somewhere that is safe from flooding, hurricanes, tsunamis, all the bad things. So think common sense. What applies to you where you're at? Financial collapse is another one. That is meaning big event, not inflation, not shortage or anything like that. Talking financial collapse of the dollar. Is that likely? Man, I hate to say yes, but I can't really say no. I feel that is something, yeah, it's reasonable to prepare for something like that. So how do you prepare for stuff like that? Same as same old, food, water, able to produce your own stuff, and then tangible goods, things that you can sell, barter, or things like that with. That's very important. It may be precious metals of the gold and silver kind. It may be the lead, copper, and brass kind. It may be whatever that you can use to barter or trade in return for what you need. Maybe that spare part for your generator. Maybe some seeds that you don't have for your garden. Maybe whatever it may be that you might be able to trade for that. Tangible goods that have real value, not fiat currency that's just printed like crazy. So that is a likely event. But most of these events that I talk about, you can mitigate the effects of them by doing the common sense prepper things. Having your food storage, having your water storage, growing your own food, raising your own animals, being as self-reliant as possible, as well as having plans in place to be able to bug out. Not optimal, but having those plans and the ability to do so. Having plans in place to bug in. What about security? How do you defend what's yours if the golden horde comes a-running? Okay, that's something to think about. We talk about that kind of stuff over on Patreon, though. The link is in the description below if you want to check it out. It's $1 a month. It's well worth it. I'm sorry. I had to move stuff there due to the current circumstances of this platform. And so we talk about a lot of that kind of stuff over there. So if you want to see that, check it out over there. But on to the next calamity. Another possible calamity, event, whatever you want to call it, might be things like vaccine passports. Not really going to talk about that here. We might have a discussion about that on Patreon also. But limiting your ability to go places, to do things, to buy food, to receive medical care, that may be on the horizon. I know they're starting that kind of idea or in Europe. So I hope it doesn't trickle over here, but keep that in mind. A lot of that has to do with living in areas that will not abide by things potentially you don't agree with. So that are more in consort or more in line with the way you think. This is important. Remember, that's your most powerful prepper tool to prepare yourself for any of these things that might happen. Could it be a zombie apocalypse? Well, we're kind of in that. Have you ever watched people walk down the street and they're just like, or they're sitting at dinner with their spouse and they're both like this on the phone. They're sitting at the same table. They're not even talking. To me, that's really sad. And to me, that's kind of like zombies. They are. They're mindless zombies that just do what big business, big corporations, the government, the mainstream media, and all that stuff tell them to do. But you don't do that. You're an independent thinker. That's why you're here. That's why we're all here. Thinking about things, doing things, getting that, building that living insurance, that preparedness, prepping at a peace of mind, building that peace of mind, having the ability to take care of ourselves, our families, our friends, our neighbors. That's a big part of it. So, what's another likely scenario? Or a scenario, I'll say. How about grid down? Let's do that. Whether it's from cyber attack or EMP or whatever. There's other ways. What would you do then? I don't know what you'd do. Me, I would just keep on keeping on. I just keep doing what I normally do. With the exception of, we would start eating stuff out of the fridge and the freezers first. The fridge first, then the freezers. And then we would also have to think about running the generator. And at that point, I would probably maybe make my generator location a little more soundproof so that I'm not giving myself away as having a generator, thus having power, thus having food, those kind of things. Yeah, there are plans in place, and if you have them, you'll be better off. SOP, standard operating procedures. Have them for yourself, your family, your group, your neighborhood, whatever it may be. Those are plans. What am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if that happens? Where am I going to go if this happens? All the different things. War game them out. Knowledge is power. Preparedness is power. So, in general, I think those are pretty much, we talked about the things that are most likely to happen. In my mind, my humble mind. I don't see like the big C, WAR happening. I don't see, anything crazy. I mean, there's always like Yellowstone supervolcano. There's always San Andreas fault line. There's always New Madrid fault line. There's always a plethora of things that can happen. But that's why I approach prepping the way I do. Realistic, holistic, I guess, the whole approach. General prepping. Not for one specific thing. Because if you prep for one specific thing, like I said before, and that thing never happens, well, okay, even if something else happens, you're still going to be prepped better than a lot of people. Sure. But don't limit yourself. Also, don't try to bite off too much at once. Don't try to be exactly perfectly prepared for everything that could possibly happen. Unless you have unlimited time, unlimited resources, and that's what you choose to do. Okay, great. That's awesome. But be realistic in your preps. Stock food, stock water, stock seeds, grow and produce as many of your own calories as you can. Raise animals, grow food. Become as self-reliant as you can. I know a lot of people are limited. A lot of you are limited out there. Apartment living, city living, maybe even suburban, where you don't have really that much of a yard and maybe it's all shaded or something. I don't know. There's always something you can do though. You can container garden with grow lights. You can do lots of different things. I'm not really up to par on that because I'm not in that situation. That's not what I have to deal with. I know, and I'm getting better at knowing what I am doing and what I have to deal with and how I'm growing my stuff, producing my calories and stuff like that. And you got to think also, be realistic in your area. What's your AO, your area of operations? Where do you live? Do you live in West Texas? Do you live in North Dakota, Alaska? There's a lot of different considerations. Colorado, Florida. Depends on where you live. If you live in the Ozarks, Washington State, like me, California, oh man, whoo, that's a whole other can of worms. I don't want to open that one. It does. It really depends on where you are, what your needs are. So make sure you're using this and you are filling the categories that most meet your needs, that are most effective for you. That's why I don't talk a lot in specifics on this channel. I don't tell you have to do this or you have to have this, because you may not have to have that. That may be a nice to have, but not a have to have. You may have to have this, whereas for me, that's a nice to have, vice versa. So you know what you need if you use this, the most powerful tool in preparedness. So please do that. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said at the beginning, please subscribe, hit the like button, make sure you stay subscribed, and share the videos. And encourage and uplift other prepper channels also, and those around you. Spread the gospel of preparedness and His gospel. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.